Congratulations on making it to Friday. Wow, what a long week. What a long month. I hope all of you are doing well. I know that with the need to stay inside, it gets a little bit difficult to kind of keep a good, positive, energy. But I want to go ahead and just touch base with everybody. I don't want to clog your emails, so you might have noticed I haven't been sending out the regular weekly updates. If your inbox is anything close to mine, you're receiving anywhere from 50 to 100 emails a day, and it's easy to kind of get lost in the noise. So I've been trying to kind of scale back a little bit on that, not to contribute to that. But I did want to go ahead and share a few interesting points from an article I read recently, and it had to do with how to go ahead and teach, in a time of crisis. And there are 5 main points that it raised, and I thought were really worth looking at. One, it's best to do something. It's really easy, I think, to fall into a rut right now, particularly when we're often trapped in our houses and we can't get out because it's like today, it's rainy out. But having something to do. But it doesn't mean we have to do a lot. I think that that's good for our students to keep in mind. It's good for us to keep in mind. So just find something to keep yourself active, engaged. Another point they raised in the article is taking a moment of silence, just trying to find some quiet, trying to find some, opportunity just to recenter yourself. If you're anything like me, it feels like it's very hard to settle down and your wheels are spinning. I was talking to a friend of mine, a physician, and he was saying that, part of the problem is that, our bodies just are not getting as much movement as they're used to. So we have all this pent up energy. But trying to find some time for silence to try to practice, being quiet and mindful, really good during this time, especially with anxiety levels being high and everyone feeling a little elevated. Minding the cognitive workload, that was the third point raised in the article. And, I think thinking about how much capacity do people have for work. I know sometimes it feels like, our Board of Regents is a lot of touch with reality here where, we have so much work required to try to create a remote distance learning, environment. And then we have all these other requirements that come down, and that's really frustrating. And sometimes our students might feel that way. If we're working too hard to try to recreate the entire classroom experience, but they're no longer the same students they were before the college closed. Many of them, like us, right, are now full-time parents, homeschool teachers, and they have to juggle that with potentially being, essential employees who have to work, and then they have a full workload. Their schedules are no longer the same, and so, we need to be mindful of that when we try to create learning for them, being mindful of how much they're already carrying. If we're feeling anxious and pent up, we have to know our students are going to be feeling, the similar. Assigning relevant activities materials is a 4th point raised, and that's, it's good practice, I think, really at any point, right? But even more so now when time is and focus is at such a premium, just making sure that whatever activities we do assign our students, they are going to be tied directly to learning outcomes. We can certainly provide enrichment opportunities, if students are able, but really just kind of looking at the bare bones. What have we got to, have our students do that are going to be relevant to their studies and relevant to their lives. 5th point is facilitating a discussion. I think that can take a lot of different forms. Talking to faculty and staff in my department, sometimes that can be having a phone call conversation. Again, low tech can be fantastic. Sometimes it can be having a discussion board. I look at some of the discussions taking place, in my comics literature course, and it's fantastic and that's great. It can be anywhere from being online to that simple phone call. It could be a Zoom conference. I know other, teachers and staff are meeting students that way too, but just having some form of engagement. I think that's the big takeaway. And then finally, providing resources. Our foundation has been reaching out to provide support both for laptops for students in need, as well as access to food. I know our student affairs programs are reaching out with, similar supports. Our tutoring center and our staff there have been working night and day since this all happened to make sure that, academic supports were put in place for our students. So making sure that our students know that these resources are available to them so that they can find some semblance of success during this absolutely crazy time. And then providing resources for each other. I think that that's something else that we should be thinking about. I'll include a link to the article, and you can check it out in your own leisure if you like. But just some important points to keep in mind as we continue to move ahead in this uncertain time. And as a last point, I hope you're all finding time to take care of yourselves. And it could be something as simple as a virtual happy hour with colleagues and friends. I have mine scheduled tonight with some friends. We're going to sit back and just, talk and have a drink or two. But something just to kind of help lighten the load a little bit and, relax as much as you're able. So I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're staying healthy. And if I can ever be of assistance through the Center for Teaching, please do not hesitate to reach out. Take care, and we'll be in touch soon.